trend taking place all around the country right now. It's called the tiny house trend, and it's millennials wanting smaller spaces. It's people who just want to have less stuff moving into smaller spaces. And so we're going to talk about it now. How do you decorate a small space like that? Karen LeBlanc, the host of the Design Tourist Show, she recently went on a tour of some of these small spaces. She joins me now. Good to see you. Appreciate you being here today.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
This is a new trend. What do they define as a tiny house, though?
A tiny house is anything under 1,000 square feet, but when we talk about micro housing, we're talking about 500 to about 550 square feet.
We've seen some of these places 250 square feet. How do people function in these small spaces?
Well, first of all, you have to have the right mindset, and that is you've got to live a much more edited down life. You've got to sort through your material possessions and find out what's important, useful, has meaning. And second of all, be very clever about your furnishings, which has given rise to this entire genre of furnishings known as flexible furniture.
Before we get into those, why the move to have such small houses, do you think?
It's interesting. You know, what we're seeing is a cultural shift from the days of the McMansion, that big show-off space for the sake of space. What we're seeing now is just a more conscientious approach to living. People are more mindful about their carbon footprint, more mindful about a green lifestyle, and simply just wanting to live with less stuff, less maintenance, less headache, and less money.
Okay, we've seen it in New York City for years where people live in these 200, 300 square foot houses, but it's happening here in Orlando now too. I know millennials are getting into this, but they still want to look like they have a cool space. So what do you have for us? So what did you see in the design?
Well, what I think is fascinating is this whole concept of the prefab home. You know, it kind of got a bad rap as kind of portable or trailer housing. Well, let me tell you something. Prefab is now ultra cool. Millennials, these downsizers you're talking about, are opting for prefab homes because they are scalable. You can build a home anywhere from 500 square feet to 5,000 with minimal impact to the environment and more affordable.
Okay, so if you have one room, which a lot of these places do, they have a bathroom, they have a kitchen, and one room. How do you have room for your TV, your couch, your bed? What have you seen that makes sense?
It can be done, and I will give you an example. When I was at Dwell and Design in New York City, I saw a micro suite. It was 250 square feet all in one space, and they could live large in that small space with flexible furniture. Things like a media console, which behind the TV screen held 6 chairs. Underneath the television was a pull-out which had a dining table. So voila, you have your dining room. The sofa behind it was a queen bed. The sofa folds up, the bed pulls up. Voila, you have your bedroom. The refrigerator is hidden in a console. The ironing board, just clever multitasking furniture.
Well, let's be honest though, most people never move into a space of about 200 feet or 200, 300 square feet. What lessons have you learned for a bigger house from these small houses? Are there lessons you can take away?
Yes, there are, absolutely. It really makes you question all the material goods that you have in your life and really think about why you acquire an object. Is it something you need? Does it have meaning? Is it truly functional? And I think that really, if anything, if you choose not to live in a tiny house, at the very least, it helps you kind of reassess your consumerism. And are you making conscious, responsible choices about what you consume?
Okay, you're based right here in Orlando. You have one of the best jobs ever. You travel the world looking at some of the fashions out there. The Design Tourist Show, how can people see more about your show?
I gotta do the design. And also, please, if you have a trend to share or a tiny house story, hashtag me at The Design Tourist.
All right, good stuff, Karen. Always good to see you. Appreciate you being here today.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, back to you guys.